Hello, everyone, wherever you are. Then another episode today with an amazing character, Anmol Singh. He started a very interesting career during his life journey. Amno, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time of having this episode with us today. So, Amno, if you have to characterize who is Amno, how would you characterize yourself to other people?
I think I am a philosopher who landed into the stock market. Yeah, psychology, mindset, all those things have always been the biggest, passion points for me. But then that translated into the stock market because as you get into the stock market, you start risking, millions of dollars of your own money. You
Yeah.
realize psychology is a big factor, right? The confidence is a big factor. So now I combine psychology and trading together to coach traders, investors around the world, hedge fund managers on how to manage themselves and their psychology for optimal investing and trading. But then I actively also trade and invest in the stock market myself, and I teach other people how to do the same.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, how did it all started, Damno? I mean, what was it, an idea or a dream that you had since you were young? Was it something that came up, during your life journey? Tell us a bit about that. How did it all started?
Yeah, I think it came more so as a necessity than anything else. I was in college in London, doing my business honors degree. And in that, I took a year of a gap year where you have to get internships or you have to get work experience or a different job before you actually graduate. So in that year, I applied to a lot of different jobs from the best companies all the way down to the startups. And apart from like a couple interviews, I didn't really get in anywhere. And that's when it dawned on me that I can't just rely on people to give me a job. Like I can't rely on the world for my financial future. Because here I am, watching all my friends great jobs, and I'm in my dorm room, not able to even get an interview. And that's when it, dawned on me that I have to take control of my financial future in my own hands. And I had a whole year. I had a whole year to do nothing because everybody else had a job and I didn't. So in that year, I just locked myself in a room and I just studied as much as I could about the stock market, getting my hands on any books I can find, any movies I can watch, any videos I can watch, any online courses I can take. So spend the whole year trying to learn this. And as I learned, the more passionate I became, the more curious I became on why does the stock market move that way? Why does it go up? Why does it go down? Who decides that? Like I wanted to know everything. And
Yeah.
I think that curiosity led me into learning more and more about the markets that eventually that, ended up becoming my career now. And I've been at this 15 years.
Amazing, amazing. During this stage, what challenges can you tell that, I mean, you have? I mean, of course, it does not come from one day to the other. I mean, you learn, but many things happen, like everyone. So I think it would be interesting for people to have those insights of your experience and how did you overcome those moments.
Yeah, I think there was a few different challenges. I think the first challenge is okay, where do I learn this? Right? There's so much information out there online. Where do I learn? And then when you start to find a place where to learn from, then you're like, okay, who do I learn from? Because there's a lot of so-called marketing gimmicks in this industry too, where you
Yeah,
get emails, turn 500 into $1 million, or buy this coin and or buy this stock, it's going to be the next big,
yeah,
Google. And
yeah,
there's all sorts of like mess in the industry, so that finding who to learn from is a big thing. Who do I learn from? Who do I trust? Who's telling the truth? Who's actually just marketing? So I think a lot of that was the early challenges. But once I found like a mentor who was already doing what I wanted to do, then and I was able to see him actually do it in real life market environment and not just on videos. That's what gave me the confidence. So that was the challenge number one: finding the right person and the place to learn from. But the other challenge was myself, because even if somebody can teaches you all the strategies in the world, but they're only as good as your ability to follow it and actually do it. But if you
yeah,
actually never do the strategy, well, it's not going to work. Just like anything else with business, or even with your consulting, you tell a client, okay, here's what we should do. But if they don't do it, well, then you're not going to get the result. So the same thing with trading is like, can you be emotionally disciplined and confident to do the right thing over and over, and not trade or invest based on emotions or feel, or I feel the stock is going to do this, or gut feel? It has no place in the market. You need data, you need systems, you need numbers. need to back test those strategies. So I think those were the early challenges. Was me holding on to a losing stock more than I should have. I should have gotten out for a small loss, but I keep holding. Go, maybe it'll come back up. Those maybes are what will destroy any investor's career. Is maybe this will come back up. Let me keep holding, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't come back. So I think those emotional pitfalls you have to avoid and be willing to take a small loss rather than just holding on, hoping it's going to come back up. Because hope is not a strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. And during this process, I mean, how did you got there? I mean, of course, we encountered a lot of challenges, people. What did you find actually helpful from the people you encountered during your journey that you actually use, on a daily basis work? What was the most important thing?
I think the most important was when I joined a prop firm. So a prop firm is a proprietary trading company where the company has hundreds of traders that they hire, and you are trading the company's money. And then the company trains you, and you trade their capital, and in
Right.
exchange, they take a percentage of everything that you make. That was
Right.
kind of the most helpful experience because when we're doing it from home, sometimes it could be a little bit challenging because there's no supervision, there's no accountability, there's no consequences, right? Because in a job, you have a boss or a supervisor or your manager telling you what to do. Now, if you don't do it, there's consequences. But when
Yeah.
we're trading by ourselves on our computer, there's no boss, there's nobody telling us what to do. We have to tell ourselves what to do every single day. And that's the hardest part as an entrepreneur is like nobody's going to tell you what to do. Nobody's going to say this is your task list for today. You have to determine that by yourself. So
Yeah.
working for a company kind of gave me that structure of discipline because you're only allowed to lose a certain amount of money every day. And if you lose that, well, they don't even let you continue on for that day. They come back next day, right? And then they also give you targets to hit. Whereas most people doing it from home don't have any of those numbers for themselves. They don't know when they're going to quit. They don't know when they're going to stop trading if they're making money. So I think with the company that gave me good structure where I wasn't, I couldn't blow my account like most people at home do, right? They buy a stock, they keep holding, and now they lost all their money. We couldn't do that in a company because you lose a certain amount. They said, all right, come back next week. You're not allowed to trade anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that forced the discipline on me.
So, were the goals very challenging? I mean, were they very hard to achieve? Yeah.
I would say they were they were simple, but they were not easy. Meaning, like the art of getting to the goal is simple. You follow the process, you're eventually going to get there. But every day-to-day markets can change. You could have the best strategy in the world. Maybe that's not the week it's going to work. So
Yeah.
then you have to come back next week and do it all over again. I think the hard part is just sticking to your rules, sticking to the discipline, just following the checklist rather than trying to make up something on the fly. Think of it like a pilot. No matter how much a pilot is experienced, a pilot could have flown hundreds of thousands of hours, but yet every single time before he flies the plane, he's going to go through the checklist every single time. A good trader investor will also go through their checklist every single time, no matter how much they've done it in the past, and not ignoring your rules. I think those were the biggest the keys to success.
Sure. Sure. And what can you tell? I mean, according to your expertise of all these years that you've been trading in the market, what differentiality or what changes have you encountered, during this period? And what can you tell? What is the best way of trading? If you can do, this kind of advice, and what you advise to other beginner traders, let's just say, how should they start to trade in a market if that's really what they want?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is like to differentiate between trading and investing, right? So there's two different things.
Right.
Trading is where you're doing it as a business, as a profession, or even as a side job or whatever. And the goal with trading is to make an income, to trade and keep generating some cash flow. Whereas investing is where you're putting your money into the markets and you're not really looking at day-to-day prices. You're not looking to take your money out. You're just letting it compound and grow long term. So
Right.
investing is something that everybody should be doing. If you have another job, you have another business, whatever you're doing right now, keep doing that. But then take a percentage, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 15% of your monthly income and just automatically buy the stock market. Don't even try to pick stocks, just buy the overall stock market. Because if you do that and you do that consistently, your money is going to double every 6.7 years without you doing anything, right? And that's proven for the last like hundreds of years. So if you take a long enough time frame of like a 10-year period, you're always going to make money in the stock market just by investing, right? So that's the number one thing everybody should be doing. Now, if you want to come to trading, trading is more of an art. It's more of a sport. So you have to
Right.
learn the sport. You have to learn the strategies. You have to master emotional discipline. Yeah, master a lot of different things. So in the beginning, I tell people to trade on a demo account, right? A demo account is the same as a paper trading account,
Right.
where everything is real. The stocks are real. The prices are real. Just the money is not real. Because if you can't even make money on a demo account, you're not going to make money on a real account. So first get consistently profitable on that, and then start trading with your real money. And even when you start trading with your real money, start small, right? Just buy a couple shares, and then work your way up. As you are doing better, you're consistent, you're able to
Right.
manage yourself, then you can buy more shares and you can keep scaling that strategy up. But the key to learning trading is to learn how to read charts, chart patterns, strategies, technical analysis. You have to learn that, because without that, you cannot trade. It's impossible. So I think technical analysis charts, you have to learn how to read them, and
Yeah.
they're not hard. It could be learned, in a weekend, but then the rest of your life is going to be how to apply what you just learned.
Amazing. Amazing. And how do you actually combine all this? I mean, because it does take a lot of time to to do all this learning. I mean, even the technological platforms today in stock market, the technical, I mean, the technical terms, even maybe 100 people in the whole world know all the meaning of the whole technical terms. I mean, how do you got into that? I mean, how many hours do you actually put in, to your work, and now you combine your life with all this?
Yeah, definitely. So learning is a lifelong thing. It's always evolving. Markets are ever dynamic. New technology keeps coming, so it's always constant learning process. But the basics, the fundamentals, are very simple. And these days, the good part is everything's available online. You don't want to learn
Right.
how to use this platform, go on YouTube, type in how to use this platform, and then you'll see tutorials for people using it. So there's two ways to learn it. One is learn it yourself, which anybody can learn it themselves. Everything's available online. It just takes a longer time to learn, because you have to differentiate between information, because no two traders trade the same way, right?
Yeah.
I could be looking at the charts, the other person could be looking at financial statements, the other person could be looking at indicators. So there's thousands of different ways to trade in the market. You only have to find one, right? The one that works for you, that meets your personality style, right? So the easiest way, again, one way is learn it yourself, make mistakes, learn, reiterate, trial and error, and eventually you're going to figure it out. But it might take you, 2, 3 years, 4 years before you figure that strategy out. The other way is just to get a coach or a mentor, right? So in our online academy, we have courses created that people can start watching. Now, the basic course that everybody is required to watch, all of my students are required to watch that. It's called the PTS course,
Right.
Professional Trading Strategies. So that is about 20 hours of video lessons that they have to go through, right? So that's a lot of information. The manual is like 600 pages. But I think if somebody sits and watches it, Friday to Sunday, you could finish the course. Right? If you
Right.
just take 3 full days, you can finish that course. But then you go back to it to review, now and again, so that you stay fresh on the information. Because there's a lot of information, you're not going to retain it all. But that's the fastest way, is to go through a structured course, so that way
Yeah.
you're not trying to piece things together online and create this puzzle. It's already done in a sequential order, from basics all the way till advanced. So I think that is probably the fastest way to learn. And then just get a group of community of traders, because I wouldn't be here without a community of traders. The
Right.
only way I think I was able to be successful is that I was surrounded myself with hundreds of other traders who were trading the exact same strategy as me. So then at breaks, at lunch, we can talk about that. We can talk about what you traded. Why did you trade that? Why did I not trade it? Like, and then you try to learn from other people. So
Sure.
having a community is really important, because otherwise trading is a very lonely business. It's you and the computer, pretty boring.
Yeah. Right.
So you have to have a community.
In the end, you disconnect from people because you're talking with a machine every day. So kind of. So,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, everybody
yeah.
needs a community, a group of people, a mastermind or something to be a part of, where everybody's doing the exact same strategy or trading the exact same way, and then you can hold each other accountable.
As in your opinion, do you think the market right now, of course, there's a lot of volatility in the market, as we know, because of many things that have been happening. But if it was not through that, would you think the market is actually going on the right direction? And if not, what advices would you give to have better constant trading in the market? Because I know many. companies that trade do it very aggressively. Of course, there's a lot of volatility also, and I don't think that's a good example for other people to learn or to work like that, because that takes us to what happened in 2008, right? So, what advice, in your expertise, opinion, would you give to this?
Yeah, I think when it comes to investing, you have to understand the market is a one-way street. In the long enough time frame, it's only going to go up,
Yeah,
right? It might have its pullbacks along the way. It might have short-term fluctuations. It'll have short-term dips. It'll have short-term corrections, which is very normal and very healthy for the market. But in the longer market is always going to go higher. It's just the way that it's designed, right? Because it's a part of American culture to put monthly, take a percentage and automatically invest. So the whole world is automatically investing, and
right.
newer people have access to all these softwares now that they're also going to start to invest. Majority more Americans are investing now than before, with all these tools created. So the fact that everybody's putting money into the market every month, right, and then the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq will automatically remove all the underperforming companies. They'll add the new companies into the S&P 500. So they remove all the bad ones. They add all the good ones. Everybody's investing every monthly. So it's designed in a long way to always naturally go up. And the market has always been higher than where it was the last 10 years, every single time, right? Every single time. So it's designed to always go up. So the key with investing is don't even look at the fluctuations, because think about how much we've gone through in the world. Israel, Ukraine, Israel,
Yeah,
Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, Iran, India, Pakistan. We've gone through COVID. We've gone through the debt crisis, the debt ceiling, the Greece debt default, the euro, all of that. But yet the stock market's never been higher than where it is today. So it's designed in a way to always go up. So the key with investing is to just stay invested. More important than timing the market is time in the market. The longer you're in the market, the compounding is going to happen for you. And it's proven that your money is going to double every 6.77 years if you invest regularly. Now, when it comes to trading, volatility is actually a gift for traders, because when it's boring markets, there's not a lot of room to make money in. When
yeah,
the market is dropping and you're able to buy, let's say Tesla at $100 a share, now it's back to $300 a share, then it drops to 270, you bought it back, goes to 340. Those volatility actually creates best opportunities for traders. The more volatile, the more crazier the market gets, the more money a trader would make, because we can capture those pockets.
you can actually predict when actually, for example, a stock that actually comes down, you more or less can guess that the actual goes up again.
Yeah, using technical analysis, you can figure out, okay, where's the support areas, where's the trend line areas,
Right,
or you can look at, okay, where are the big institutional orders sitting at. Then you
right,
know the institution is willing to buy the stock at, let's say, 300. We're probably not going to go below that.
yeah,
So if they're willing to buy it, you just ride their coattails basically, because they're trading billions of dollars, and you just got to jump on the right side of the trend. So yeah, a lot of it's predictable. Now it's not going to be 100% accuracy, right?
right.
There's always going to be 30-40% that are not going to work. But the key with trading is, as long as you're making money on 50%, 60% of them, you're going to come out ahead in the long enough time frame, right? And the key with trading is to make sure that your average winner is bigger than your average loser. Because let's say I lose $1,000 on all my losing trades, but I
Right.
win $2,000 on all my winning trades. I only need to be right like 34, 35% of the time, right? And good traders will be right 50, 60, 70% of the time.
Right.
That's how you make money, is you get the ratio of the statistics, the odds in your favor. So you end up becoming the casino rather than the player in the casino. Players will
Right.
lose money. Casinos will predictably make money every month because they know they have this little edge
Yeah.
statistically.
Yeah. Yeah. We never heard that the casino actually loses money. We never heard about that. So yeah. So within this strategy, you still find that, in your perspective, volatility, has its risk, but also its gains. Would you advise, other traders to do the same, or this is just for average or expert level, to start trading like this?
No, I think anybody can do it. But the key with volatility is, before you get into any trade, you need to know what is the max you're willing to lose,
Right.
right? And then once you hit that max loss number, you should automatically get out. So that way, there's no surprises. It could be as volatile as the market can be. If you put it in the software that, okay, if I'm down, the stock I buy it at $100, if it goes down to 98, automatically sell it. So now it could go down to $90. Doesn't matter. You're already out at 98. You took a $2 loss. You walk away from the trade, and then you reevaluate. Maybe you get into something else. Maybe you get back in it much lower. So, but the key is to define your loss before you get into any trade. So there's no room for surprises. You know exactly what you're willing to lose. And I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest problem the biggest mistake traders make is they get into the stock, they just hope it's going to work. They have no expectation of what if it doesn't work, and now it's going down and they never get out, and they keep holding, they keep buying more, and now they put themselves in a hole. Whereas the disciplined trader will already know, I'm buying it here. If it goes down here, I'm going to get out. If it goes up here, here's my target. So then
Yeah.
it's like a bracket order. I buy it
Right.
here, my target's here, my stop is here. Now either it's going to go to the target or either it's going to go to the stop loss. And if it goes to the
It's
stop
like
loss,
a obligatory cap, right? You determine the cap you're going to have in percentage for loss or gain. So this way you always on that.
right, and you have to do that. Like you can't just get in and hope. Let's see what happens, because that's not a strategy. You have to
Yeah.
bracket those orders in, because then it's all statistical, right? If all my winners are twice the size of my loser, I know I only need to be right on 4 out of 10 trades.
Right.
That's it, or 40 out of 100 trades. I could lose on 60 of them. I'm still gonna make money at the end of 100 trades. So that's the beauty of this strategy.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you for these insights. So, I mean, apart from this, you also speak in many events. You speak publicly, in many webinars and teaching other people. What is the most insightful thing, about this and the teaching you're giving to people? And how do people can reach you to have this type of events with you?
Yeah, so I think with teaching, the best thing I could say is like, what's the fastest way for people to learn?
Right.
Is through repetition, right? So if I'm teaching this stuff every day, what am I getting? I'm getting reps every day.
Right.
I'm repeating myself every day. So the more it ingrains into my psychology that I don't need to remember any information, because I've been doing it every day. For the last 15 years, I've been doing it and teaching and trading. So I learn and I become a better trader by teaching others, right? Because I'm reinforcing my own strategies again and again. I'm teaching other people how to do it. And then other people hold me accountable too. They say, hey, Anmol, you taught us that strategy, but why are you holding on to this stock? You should have already been out. So they can call me out on it too, right? And that holds me accountable. So teaching will always supercharge your learning. The fastest way to retain an information is to go teach it to somebody else, right? Now you know the information. So now you don't need to think about it or remember it. You already know it. So that's what teaching does, is it makes you better. Repetitions make you better. And then the sense of, leading a team, leading people to an outcome makes you a better trader and gives you purpose.
Did technology did made trading today easier as we go on advancing on technology? I mean, it's like, is today easier to trade than 5 years ago? That's
Oh,
also
100%,
yeah,
100%. Back in the day, you had to go through brokers. I mean, even before that, 20 years ago, you had to call the broker, and say, hey, I want to buy this stock. Now you don't need to call anybody. You're just pushing mouse and keyboard on your computer and getting it done. So it's accessible to everybody. You can trade on an iPhone, on an iPad. There's apps for everything now. You could do it. Even automate stuff these days that you
right.
couldn't do in the past. You can set up the orders already in your software. The market could be closed and you can automate stuff and put in your software. So software has made trading not only easier, more accessible for people, and it's streamlined and made it more efficient. A lot of the things that I used to do manually, calculator on my desk and all that, I
Yeah.
don't need to do any of that because the software calculates everything for us now. The spreadsheets for everything, it's made our job a whole lot easier.
Amazing, amazing. And within this calculation, you find that most of the time is correct, or you find some glitches sometimes.
No, the software is usually are 100% pretty much accurate. Haven't noticed any issues with software. So yeah, they work pretty well. And if there's any glitches, they fix it right away.
Amazing.
So yeah, softwares actually have made trading much easier, much more uh, accessible for people to get into. That previously people need all these different tools. Now everything's like all in one in your own software, and all the
Right.
brokers have great softwares now. Whereas back in the day, there used to be one broker had an amazing software, others had like pretty old, outdated softwares. Now everybody has great softwares, and it's just made it more accessible, more easier, and more affordable. Also, because back in the day, the software used to be pretty expensive. You had to pay $500,000 a month just to use some of these things. Now it comes free with your brokers, so
Yeah.
it's democratized investing for everybody.
Amazing. Do you find it? I mean, today there's stock market everywhere in the world in 5 continents. Would you say that some countries is easier to do stockbroker than others due to
Yeah, I think
legislation? Or,
America is the easiest market because America has the best softwares, the best technology,
right.
the cheapest transaction costs. Like a lot of places in Europe and even in London, like right now in America, the brokerage commission is pretty much free. There's no commission you're paying for brokerage. Whereas in Europe and London, some brokers still charge like 0.5% or, which can really add up a lot. If you're actively in and out every day, you're paying a lot of in commissions and fees. So it's
Right.
much easier in America and stock market. And that's why even when I was in London, I still traded the US market because information is readily available online. The whole world knows Apple, Microsoft, Google, Tesla,
Yeah.
Nvidia. But if I ask people to name the top 10 English, British companies stocks, they're not going to be able to name them. So the whole world is looking at American stocks.
Right. Right. And since then, I mean, you dedicated your life to this. Do you feel that many things still need to change, or according to your knowledge, things are going on the right path?
I think things are going in the right path. I'm very optimistic, so like I believe that no matter how uh, bad things could get, humans always figure it out in the end. That's just my optimist view that the world will always have chaos and order, but in the end, humans always figure out a fine balance. Despite how crazy the world gets, they'll figure out that order in that chaos, and then that becomes a new normal. So, but I think things are headed overall in the right direction, and I think they're going to continue in that direction. Sometimes there's friction in the world as we change directions, but I think long term we're headed in the right direction.
When you decided to go to US, you felt that that was the best decision that you ever made. When you went, because you came from India, you came in London, you study here, and then you went to US. How did it felt for you? Because I mean, it's a big change. You came one side totally to the other. It's a
Yeah.
big move, big transition. How was it for you?
I think it was the best decision I ever made. It was not an easy one. It was a very hard journey coming here the right way,
Yeah,
but I think it's the best decision because I still believe the American dream is real. Like it came to this country with pretty much nothing, started everything, and made it happen. And doing that in another country is very hard. Like I remember even after once I graduated, I went back to India for a year, and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna do it in my own country. I'm gonna start a business here and give back to the country that I was born in. And you applied for like your corporation, it's like 3 weeks later, it's still stuck in the paperwork bureaucracy. You try to get a trademark, it's taking forever, you got to bribe people. I was like, this is not easy to do business here, right? And then I thought about London, but London is also like a place where if you get a great job, it's awesome, but to start a business from nothing is pretty hard, right?
yeah,
Entrepreneurship is very hard there,
yeah.
even in London.
There's
But
a
in
lot of
America, there's
it's
access to
very very
capital, there's
competitive.
people, there's
Yeah,
groups, there's masterminds, everybody's trying to do something. Is that energy that still exists here that I don't see anywhere else in the world. So yeah, I think it was the best decision ever, and I wouldn't change a thing about that.
amazing, amazing. So you find
I
in
lost your
Europe,
voice there.
you find that in Europe it's much more competitive.
Your voice cut out.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Um, I'm no. Can you hear me now? So you find European market like more competitive than in US? Um, okay, there's a bit of technical glitch. I'm no. Can you hear me? I'm no. Can you hear me? I'm Noel.
Okay.
Can you hear me? All right, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry guys for this technical glitch. I don't know exactly what happened. So I was saying that so you did find the European market a bit more competitive than in US,
Um, I wouldn't say competitive. I think it was just harder. Like the American market
right?
was just easier to do business in because everything is so accessible. Information is accessible. There's mastermind groups. There's so many things you can do here. Events all happening around here. So there's this whole culture of like, entrepreneurship that I think in other countries, at least from my experience, was that it was more professional environment, meaning people wanted to be corporations, professionals, and work in their job and kind of scale up. Whereas the entrepreneurship culture, building something from nothing, just an idea, I found that America had that more than any other country.
Amazing, amazing. And during daily basis, I mean, your routine obviously started early because I mean you need to combine because many markets open in different times. What advice would you give if you actually combining stock market from different time zones?
I think you have to determine the hours that you want to work. So I think you have to first reverse engineer your life, meaning like what kind of life do you want to live? Like
Right,
what hours do you want to work? What hours do you need for yourself, for your family, for your other hobbies or passions? And then now you know, okay, what hours you have to work. And now you can see which markets you can trade in those hours. Because, when you get into trading, and I did that very early on, is like, because I was a typical introvert. I had no problem sitting at home in my computer, right? And I would be trading the U.S. market in the morning, and then maybe in the evening, maybe trading the Indian market, and then
right,
the foreign exchange markets. That's 24/7. So I'd be up in middle of the night looking at my currency positions and looking at what they're doing, and I just like was not getting much sleep, and I didn't have any life outside of trading because all I'd be doing is one market to the other, and I realized that's not a good balance that I wanted to have. So then I kind of streamed down. I said, okay, what if I just do one market, but I scale that market up bigger. So I trade bigger positions, bigger money, rather than small amounts of money in all these different markets. Why don't I just focus on one thing? And that made it better for me because I trade now every morning from 9 o'clock, and I'm usually done by 12 o'clock every day. So that's a good life. You work for 3 hours a day. Rest of the day I'll focus on my business or my coaching or the other stuff, or I have the time to do whatever I want to do, and I don't really work on the weekends unless it's working on the business or content or social media or any of that stuff. So I think that's kind of how I put my life together. Because, but again, nothing wrong with that. If somebody's like motivated, hungry, you could trade all day long. There's markets all around the world, but I
yeah.
find that it's much easier to be focused for a few hours than to try to focus all these hours. Because somewhere in those late nights, you're gonna have this loss of emotional discipline, emotional control, and you
Yeah.
end up making bad decisions.
So you did find that doing that is not actually optimizing for your health and your life, and it's not the right way of making decisions for trading, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you have to be on your A game when it comes to trading because you're risking real money and real decisions with real consequences. So you have to be always on your A game, like the pilot, go through the checklist every single time and not
Right.
letting your emotions come in and say, buy this stock. This is going to be the next big thing. Put your money in it. You got to ignore all those voices and you just got to follow the system.
Yeah. 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 So no, how do you see yourself within the next, let's say, 5 years? Will you continue to do, the same as you're doing? You're going to improve. You're going to get into other stuff. Tell us a bit about that.
Right. So yeah, the next 5 years, like I don't have such major like business goals per se. I think I now have more personal goals of like,
Right.
I want to get healthier. I want to, get all the other aspects of my life that I kind of ignored for a little bit, working on the business part. So I think that's my goal now, is to create more flexibility in my life where I'm more active, and, more personal related goals regarding my health, being more outdoors, playing more golf, that kind of goals. From a business standpoint is just to continue to offer what I'm offering and continue to help more people create financial abundance and build a career in the stock market, and just try to scale that. We are working on automated trading software at the moment, which we're probably going to launch in September, October.
Right.
It's going to be using a lot of AI tools, and a lot of the stuff that we do manually will be automated on there. So we're looking forward to building and launching that.
Amazing, amazing. When will be that?
Aiming for September, October. So
Yeah.
yeah, 2 3 months from now.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. How do people can track your work? How they can contact you?
Yeah, but I would love to give your listeners a free copy of my book.
Okay.
Regardless of where they are in the world, we'll send it to them. They just have to cover the shipping. They can go to go.unmol, my name, right? Go.unmol.net, and they can just put in their shipping address, whatever, cover shipping, and wherever in the world you are, I'll send you a free copy of my book. That'd be a great place to start. And then they can learn more about me on my website, unmol.net or livetraders.com. And then I'm everywhere on social media, X, Instagram. My username is Delta90, DELTANINETY, spelled out. Had it a long time ago when social media came out, so I never changed it. So we're
Right.
stuck with the username.
Why Delta?
So it was an options term. So when we trade options, there's
Right.
Delta 50, Delta 70, Delta 90
Yeah,
options.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
traded Delta 90 options for like a long time. And I
Amazing.
just kept that my username back in like 2010. And now it's like,
Right.
it's too late to change it.
Amazing, amazing. So, according to all your journey, of course, you might have had some lower influence, let's just say, during your life. And how did you overcome it? I mean, what advice do you give to people when you see, low vibes coming to you, which has happened, unfortunately, in our current society? And what advice you give to people, to go through those kind of situations and for them to detect what is good and what isn't, within the market, especially because there's a lot of misinformation, right? I mean, stock market is huge. There's billions of products, commodities, inside, and everyone tells you that all products are wonderful and you're going to earn millions with it, so how to decide what actually is veracity and what path you should go, to try to at least achieve your goal within learning, knowledge, and fulfilling.
Yeah. So a couple of the success keys that I actually talk about in my book is, number one, you have to have an integrity mindset, right? So
Yeah,
integrity is doing what you said you're going to do and doing it when you said you're going to do it, and doing it whether you feel like it or not, but doing it because it's the right thing to do, right?
right.
And when you live your life like that, that's how you create success in anything, whether your own job, your business, your trading, investing. All starts with being a person of your word, honoring your word. When you say you're going to do something, you should do it. When and so you have to pay close attention to the words that come out of your mouth, right? And make sure you really mean it. Otherwise,
Yeah,
don't say it, right? Because the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between our true intentions. It just sees words spoken, actions not taken. So if you constantly keep saying, I'm going to do this on Monday, oh, I'll do this next week, I'll do this next month, and you never do it, that's going to create low self-confidence and low self-esteem, and it's going to keep repeating itself. So the only way you break that cycle is to keep your word. When you keep your word, those small wins build your momentum, build your self-confidence, and then that builds your self-esteem, and then it's like an upward spiral from there on. Small commitments you make to yourself will go into bigger and bigger commitments. So the reason why people are not able to keep the word with themselves, or these big goals that they set but they never do it, is because they don't even follow through on the small things, right?
yeah,
So start following through on that is number one. The other success key I would give them is to get out of the learning loop. So the learning loop is where people read one book, then they go to read another book, then they listen to one podcast, then they go listen to another podcast. They keep learning, learning, learning. And I'm like, but you're not applying any of that. You're
yeah,
not actually using any of the information. So you're not becoming more knowledgeable. You're just hoarding information. And your life's not going to change with more information. You have to actually act on it and apply it. So anytime you listen to anything, ask, what did I learn here? Now, how can I apply it to my life? If you can't answer that question, don't move on to learning something else, because you're going to just keep repeating the same mistake. So with this podcast, the listener should ask, okay, what did I learn? Okay, I learned that, okay, investing is something I should be doing irrespective of my job, and I should be investing. Okay, let's start there. That's an action step. Do
Yeah.
that before you start doing something else.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Thank you for those insights. Definitely, I think many people will appreciate. And thank you again for your work of offering your knowledge and your book for free for people in general. I have to say that I'm very proud of your work because not many people do that. And I think you are a person that actually, is able to incentivize other people and share that knowledge to them for them to empower themselves. And I think that's very, very powerful.
Thank
So
you.
from my side, at least, I thank you for that because I know what it takes to write a book, especially with that type of knowledge. And giving that knowledge for people, for them to learn, it's really something extraordinary. So I'm truly appreciated for you, what you're doing, and for all those shares that you're doing with people.
Thank you.
So
Appreciate that.
doing this, what will be your next step right now? I mean, you will continue to do, same trading, same job. You're gonna start, doing different investments. Tell us a bit about your next step.
Yeah, definitely. So, trading and investing, I think I'll probably be doing it all the way until I can do it no longer. So I think that's one thing you learn the skill. You could be 80 years old. As long as I'm functioning, I can still do it. So I will still be trading, still be coaching and helping people. My mastermind group is where I'm focused a lot of my attention now,
Right?
is to grow that and have chapters around the world where we can now get offline and actually meet in real life and build these connections and start businesses together.
Yeah.
And even the software business that I mentioned came up from my mastermind members. They had this idea, I helped them, let's get it up, because people can have all these ideas and going to remain ideas in your head. So I
Yeah.
take them, I'm like, okay, we're going to do it, we're going to launch in September, I'm going to partner with you, let's make it happen. So I think it's like taking action, and so the software is going to be a big part. Growing my mastermind group is a big part. Giving people that community, like a board of advisors, your own personal board of advisors. So I think that is sort of what my focus is now, and I do a lot of real estate stuff too. So growing in that department as well.
You mean as trading or as just real estate buy selling?
Yeah, no, we have a vacation rentals right now. We have
Okay.
11 properties we put on Airbnb and different websites to.
Okay.
Now, how can I take that 11 properties to 20? That'll be the next few years to try to grow that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So within all this, I mean, you've done an amazing portfolio, and of course, you've done an outstanding research to get where you got. But of course, not all the time was like this. You must have had a lot of ups and downs, like we just talked, of people telling you, put here, buy there, how do you make the right decision when there's so many people? We're talking about maybe thousands of people at the same time trying to get in chat or sending you messages through the platform of trading, sending you balances, saying this is going all up, this is going. How do you make that reactive decision so fastly to make it the correct one, let's just say, or the most correct one? Because it's not going to be perfect, but how do you come up to be the most adequate at that precise moment?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to ignore the noise, right? Ignore everybody else's opinions, because everybody has opinions in the markets, right?
Yeah.
This is a good stock, this is not a good stock, this is a bad stock. And notice everybody will tell you what to buy. They will never tell you when to sell it, right? That's the thing. So never listen to people, because they'll say, oh, buy this stock, but they'll never tell you when to sell it. So they want you to buy it because they bought it. So they want
Yeah.
everybody else to buy it. So
Yeah.
ignore all the noise, ignore everybody else's opinions. Nobody knows anything about the stock market, right? You just have to learn how to do it yourself, build your own system, and then have odds and data of your systems. Like, okay, if I learned this strategy, if I traded this strategy for the last 10 years, what did this strategy make over the last 10 years? If it's a positive, well, then let's just keep doing it. It's just like a numbers game. But you just keep doing it. At the end of the next 100 trades, you're going to approximately be in the same ratio of the same data. So then you start making decisions based on data and what your tracking is showing you,
Right.
rather than anybody else's opinion. So I only go by what the data is saying. If the data says you take this strategy, you're going to win 60% of the time, and then I'm just going to keep doing it. Even if I get 4 losers in a row, it doesn't bother me because I know, well, that's part of the statistics. You're going to get 4 out of 10 losers, and sometimes they could come 4 in a row, and that's when people start doubting themselves. Well, what if the strategy is not working anymore? And then they stop doing that strategy, and guess what? The other 6 were winners. So like the ratio will end up holding true in a long enough sample size. So that's kind of good traders think in terms of data. We don't care about a stock. We don't care about the company. We don't care what it's going to do. We just look at the data and say, okay, this is what the data says. And we just stick to what our statistics tell us to do.
Amazing. Amazing. So thank you again for these insights. No, it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your journey to everyone. I think it's going to be very, very knowledgeable and insightful for everyone to hear it. So I'm truly appreciated for your time today and sharing all this with us.
Thank
So
you.
before we go, I always ask my guests to say a power message. What would be your power message today to everyone?
My power message is for you to take action, right? To not keep thinking, what am I going to do? Okay, what's the next step? We already gave you the next steps, right?
Yeah,
Like if you have a business, you have a job, there's an income coming in. Start with like 5%. Take 5%, automatically buy the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. Don't even pick a stock. Just put it in the stock market and make that a monthly discipline. Every month, money comes into your account, 5% automatically leaves and invests. If you do that, every 6.7 years, your money is going to double, right? Think about where you're going to be 12, 13, 15 years from now, right? I mean, $1,000 invested in the market in 1970s is millions of dollars today.
yeah,
Millions of dollars, just
yeah.
$1,000. So now think about where, just based on that, where do you think the market's going to be in 2032, 2042, 2052? The most reasonable answer is higher than where we are now, right? So if that's the case, then why aren't we investing in it today? That's what I would leave them with.
I appreciate it so much. So with that, that was all for today. Amno, it was a great pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for your insights. Thank you for taking the time for having this conversation and for sharing all your knowledge with everyone. Thank you, Amno.
Thank you.
So that was all for today. See you again on the next episode. Thank you, Amno. Have a great
Thank you.
one.
You too.